Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. Welcome back. We're studying the Sefer Bilvavi, Mishkan, Evneh. We are in the first chapter, section Yud. He quotes David HaMelech, Kirvat Elohim li tov, the closeness, the clinging to God is what brings me good. Ze eno inyan shel yeda o imra, this is not a matter that's just a piece of information or a saying or a slogan. Elazu metziut ha'hayim, this is the reality of life. Clinging to God is good, and what brings a person good. It's not something that only applies on the holidays where we tend to feel closer to God. But it's something that applies at every moment of a person's life. 365 days a year, 24 hours in a day. ו-60 דקות בשעה and 60 minutes per hour. זו כל מציאות האדם. This is in essence the entire existence of man. להיות קרוב לבורא ודבוק בו. To be close to him and to cleave to him. קרבת אלוהים לי טוב. בוודאי שבכדי לחיות בצורה הזו, certainly to live this way, צריך דרך ברורה בעבודת השם. You need a very clear path, a clearly defined method in serving God. כיצד מגיעים לכך להיות דבוקים בבורא יתברך שמו בכל רגע וברגע ממש? How do you attain such a level that you're cleaving to him at every moment? אולם עוד לפני שנבאר את הדרך לכך, however, before we attempt to explain this path, ראשית צריך שיהיה ברור לאדם בירור גמור שאין בו צל של ספק כלל. We have to make sure that there is no doubt whatsoever in this concept, this idea. צריך שיהיה ברור לאדם שתכלית החיים היא להיות קרוב ודבוק לבורא יתברך שמו בכל רגע ורגע ממש. Everyone must know that it is the ultimate purpose in life is to cleave to God for every moment. דבקות פנימית בכל נימי הנפש ממש. It's an inner attachment of every fiber in his body, in his soul. כלומר, לפני שנתחיל לחפש ולחפש לבאר את הדרך לכך, מוכרח שתחילה יהיה ברור לחלוטין איזה דרך אנחנו מחפשים. Not only that, but before we begin to seek and describe this method, it needs to be clear which path we are seeking and where it wants to lead us. לאן אנו רוצים שדרך זו תוביל אותנו? ולכך ברור הדבר שצריך ברירות גמורה בתכלית שהיא קרבת אלוהים לי טוב. And therefore, there's got to be clarity that the goal is that being close to Hashem is what is good. זו הנקודה שכל יחיד ויחיד צריך לברר לו בירור גמור. This is the point that everybody must clarify and contemplate at all times. עד שירגיש בנפשו ממש שנקודה זו של תכלית החיים ברורה לו בצורה שאין בה ספק כלל. Until he feels his soul that the purpose of life is clear without any doubt. בשעה שאדם בירר לעצמו זאת שתכלית חייו היא הקרבת אלוהים לי טוב. Sometimes when a person is clarifying for himself that the purpose of his life is to cleave to God, נראה לו ומחשבתו מהרהרת, he may believe or entertain the idea שבכדי להיות דבוק בבורא יתברך שמו, צריך להיות פרוש כמשה רבנו עליו השלום ולהינתן מכל ענייני העולם הזה, התנתקות גמורה. Maybe we have to act like Moshe, and we have to be totally detached from all worldly matters. Maybe that's the way to get to this level. ידעי שנו שמחשבה זו היא מפרי עצתו של היצר הרע. That thought is really just advice of the יצר הרע. שרוצה להרחיק את האדם מן האמת, מן הבורא יתברך שמו. He just wants to distance a person from the truth and from הקדוש ברוך הוא. וכך הוא מנסה לצייר לו את קרבת השם בצורה שחורה, בצורה שביכול זו דרך רק ליחידי סגולה. So therefore, he tries to portray this devekut, this cleaving to God, in black colors, something that is only specifically for high holy individuals. But for somebody else, like you, who is not like Moshe Rabbeinu, forget about it. You're wasting your time. Ulam be'emet meforashim advarim beramchal le'efech. However, the Ramchal states the opposite. Haramchal, she'asa tzifro mesilat yesharim ala braita asher Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. The Ramchal, who based his famous work Mesilat Yesharim on the teaching of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, hamatchila min hamadrega tachtona, starts from the most basic level. Torah mevi'ah lidei zehirut, that Torah leads to the study of watchfulness, all the way up ad ruach hakodesh u'tchiyat hametim. Ubesof sifro, and at the end of his book, end of his work, after he directs the individual on how to attain these high, lofty levels, this is what he writes: ואתה קורא נעים, ידעת שכמוני תדע, אשר לא גיליתי בספרי זה את כל חוקי החסידות. And you, pleasant reader, must realize as I do, that I have not completed in this work all the principles of saintliness. וזה פשוט, כי כל אדם לפי האומנות אשר בידו והעסק אשר הוא עושה, כך צריך לו הישרה והדרכה. It's obvious, every person, depending on his work, depending on his occupation, needs direction, needs guidance. כי דרך החסידות הראוי למי שתורתו אומנותו, אינו דרך החסידות הראוי למי שצריך להזכיר עצמו למלאכת חברו. The path of Hasidut, of saintliness, that is proper for someone who is studying Torah all day is not the same as someone who has to, who's an employee, who has to hire himself to work for another person. And these two are not similar to the person who is dealing with business. The same thing applies to all the details of a person's involvement in this world. Every person, according to his own circumstances, will find his own path to saintliness. It's not the saintliness that changes. For it's certainly applicable to every person, because it's nothing other than acting in a way that pleases HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But since the conditions are different, it's impossible that the means that lead to the goal will not change for each person according to his circumstance. Right? You can be a complete saint if ish shemipnei tzorcho, כלומר, שזה באמת צורכו ולא עצות מלמוד בתורת הקדושה, that due to necessity he can perform lowly work, okay, just as much whose person is studying all day. So meaning it must be a real necessity, not laziness about learning Torah. הוא בעל מלאכה פחותה כמו מי שלא יפסוק מפיו הלימוד, כלומר, מבואר לנו בדבריו היטב, שאדם יכול להיות חסיד ודבוק בקונו עד כדי רוח הקודש ותחיית המתים. Yes, it is true. A person can be pious. A person can be an individual who cleaves to God to the extent that, yes, he will achieve Ruach HaKodesh. He will achieve, like the Mesilat Yesharim says, the ability Techiyat HaMetim to revive the dead. Ve'eno shayach lema shu osek bo, and has nothing to do with his occupation. Im Torah v'melacha, whether that is Torah study or labor, or physical labor. Kol zot bitnai shekol ma'asav l'shem shamayim be'emet. As long conditions that everything he does is for the sake of heaven, and he engages in Torah as best as he can, and he works only as much as is absolutely necessary, and that too is for the sake of heaven. Every human being can be close to God. It doesn't only apply to rare individuals who are removed from worldly matters. Therefore we learned we have to clarify each person that the purpose of life is to achieve closeness to God. And after that, he has to be convinced this is relevant to him. That he is fit for it, he's qualified for it, beyond any shadow of a doubt. Join us next time.